You and I, we make this beloved circle whole. So come and join in. We've been waiting for you. Let's begin in love and in openness to grow our faith, especially to find actions that balance our minds and our hearts and bodies. So let's get to it. Adelaide's going to lead us in with a spiral, and we'll rise in body or spirit and sing along with Oksana. Here we go. Let's join together in lighting the flame of our faith. And I'm going to share with you one of the entries all about balance that somebody you might know made, and it's not me. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift. For our caring awareness practice today, we're going to be doing Star Web, where we get to connect with something in nature. So let's get our bodies ready. And I'm going to invite you to imagine that you are a sugar maple tree. Okay? So rooting your feet right onto the ground, really good for our first breath in. Really sinking your feet or getting them solid on the floor and connecting to the earth or to that floor underneath you. Imagine that you're this sugar maple tree and how solid the roots are and how solid your strength is, connecting in the earth itself. Breathing in and breathing out. And now I'm going to invite you to stretch your arms out if you'd like and feel the openness of the trees around us. We can know that it's this openness of the tree's branches that allowed all of their leaves to gather the sun and convert it into sugars that are now flowing in the maple trees around us. Breathing in and breathing out. And now I would invite you to imagine that you're holding buds. So imagine that you are the maple tree and that you have leaves that are waiting to come out. So you have these little buds that are beginning in you. That's the freshness of the maple tree that we know in ourselves. Breathing in and breathing out. Good. And the last one is to know this flow inside of us. So reaching way up and opening up and having an awareness and a care of the flow of sap in the tree and the flow in us. Did you know that when the lights and the temperatures start to rise, the pressure builds up inside the tree, and that's what makes it flow out when it's tapped for maple syrup? So breathing in and breathing out and listening for that flow in our bodies, that movement that is there. Knowing that flow within us, the flow of blood and energy. How many of you would love to stay online on a game for longer than you get to because either your parent or someone else asks you to get off? Anybody out there love to play video games and would love to play them more if they were allowed to? Yeah. So why do you think it is that your parents or someone you know tells you to get off of a video game after a certain amount of time? Why is it not good for us, our bodies, and the balance of our minds and our hearts and our bodies to not do that? Well, you know there's probably a number of different things can happen in our bodies and our minds, right? So our hands can hurt, we can get sore in our joints, our tendons can get very sore from the repetition. We can have things happen in the blood flow in our legs. We can gain weight if we're always sitting there, not being active. We can have a whole slew of things, including like having your eyes being sore and even getting gamer thumb, right? So your parents or someone that cares about you tells you to limit your time, not because they're mean, but because they want to prevent you, your mind and your heart and your body, from feeling harmed from that. And I'm wondering if you've ever thought about how really amazing it is that our bodies know the balance of that. Our bodies are actually naturally wired not to do that for so long because we know if it causes us pain that our body knows it's not good for us, right? Our story today comes from the Anishinaabe people of Canada, and it's to teach us some wisdom about this interdependent web and being balanced in heart, mind, and body. Here it is, Manabozho and the Maple Trees.
A very long time ago, when the world was new, the Great Spirit made things so that life was very easy for the people. There was plenty of game, and the weather was always good, and the maple trees were filled with thick, sweet syrup. Whenever anyone wanted to get maple syrup from the trees, all they had to do was break off a twig and collect it as it dripped out. One day, Manabozho went walking around. "I think I'll go see how my friends, the Anishinaabe, are doing," he said. So he went to a village of Indian people, but there was no one around. So Manabozho looked for the people. They were not fishing in the streams or the lake. They were not working in the fields hoeing their crops. They were not gathering berries. Finally, he found them. They were in a grove of maple trees near the village. They were just lying on their backs with their mouths open, letting maple syrup drip into their mouths. "This will not do," Manabozho said. "My people were all going to be fat and lazy if they kept living this way." So Manabozho went down to the river. He took with him a big basket he had made from birch bark. With this basket he brought back many buckets of water. He went to the top of the maple trees and poured water in, so that it thinned out the syrup. Now thick syrup was no longer dripping out of the broken twigs. Now what came out was thin and watery and just barely sweet to taste. "This is how it will be from now on," Manabozho said. "No longer will syrup drip from the maple trees. Now there will only be a watery sap. When people want to make maple syrup, they will have to gather many buckets full of the sap with a birch bark basket like mine. They will have to gather wood and make fires so they can heat stones to drop into their baskets. They will have to boil the water with the heated stones for a long time. Then they will appreciate this maple syrup the Great Spirit made available to them. Not only that, this sap will drip only from the trees at a certain time of year. Then it will not keep people from hunting and fishing and gathering and hoeing in the fields. This is how it is going to be," Manabozho said. And that is how it is to this day.
So in response to this story, let's do some balancing. Caden's going to lead us in Earth My Body.
Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit.
So one thing this story has to teach or remind me about is this interdependent web of life, and that we also need to tune our hearts and minds and bodies to be in right relationship, right? That there's a give and a take in all of nature, and we can't just sit around all about pleasure for ourselves, because it really won't be good for our bodies. The second thing is sometimes we need some outside support to remember to keep that balance, right? In this case, it's the trickster spirit of Manabozho who helps this village of people realize that they're going down a track that's not healthy for them. So just the awareness that someone else from the outside can bring that energy for us sometimes is a good reminder and kind of wake up. And the third thing I'd say is that everybody has needs, and that we need to balance our needs in relationship, especially to other people. It's not just all out there, it's also in us. And so the needs of the community are also part of our needs and the natural world's needs. And so it's like that internet connected web of life that is continuously needing our reflection and our care, because we can be very much out of balance with it. So in relationship to that, I wanted to give a witness from Jess, who's going to share a few words about how this relates to the interdependent web of life and racial and social justice in the world. Here he is.
the injustices in the world and the unfairness in society are things that need to be addressed and fixed. And until those things are fixed, we can't achieve kind of a community that can support everyone in it.
So true, Jess. The interdependent web of life is the same everywhere we go. And especially in Rochester this last week, where we found out that Daniel Prude's verdict was that no harm was really done to him in terms of the law. So one thing we can do is respond and do acts that balance out inequities to try to help everybody's mental health needs and physical health needs be met in our society. Anna and Ian will now offer a responsive reading, helping us to remember that the balance in ourselves and the actions we take in our families also have an impact wider in the culture that we live in. Here they are.
If there is to be peace in the world, there must be peace between nations. If there is to be peace in the nations, there must be peace in the cities. If there is to be peace in the cities, there must be peace between neighbors. If there is to be peace between neighbors, there must be peace in the home. If there is to be peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart. From Lao Tzu.
Great big love from church. Next week, we're going to be marking the 1-year anniversary of being online with COVID. So I hope you will be here to mark the joys and sorrows of this year together with all of us. So please be well today in heart, mind, and body, and find those actions that keep you balanced and help us all stay okay in this web of life. Bye for now. See you next time. So you could write a letter or you can send an email. I'll put the information right here that you can go to and say, you know what, we need a different law in place that helps different people's needs be met, especially their mental and physical well-being. Very true. So for our responsive affirmation, I'm going to share if there is to be peace, because this outer relationship also relates to our hearts. And here's Anna and Ian. So here's Anna and Ian. They're going to offer our responsive affirmation today. And you can just repeat along with Ian when he responds to Anna.